there's gotta be some sort of Transformers joke in there somewhere, but after what I heard about how bad Transformers 4 is, I'd rather take this than Michael Bay any day. JoJo, you never cease to amaze me. Portion of my reaction to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders episode 13. This time this episode focuses on the main JoJo of part 3, Jotaro Kujo, and it's about goddamn time, honestly, because he hasn't been focused a lot in this series, at least not since the Yellow Temperance episode. We've been focusing a lot on Polnareff and a bit of Kakyoin, and we've also had the previous episode with Joseph, so now it's going to be Jotaro's turn, which is great because I always love seeing Star Platinum beating the living shit out of somebody or something. Now this episode, I gotta admit, was another very funny episode, especially near the second half. It made me laugh just as much as the previous episode with the Empress. Now the episode begins as the group drives away from India as they're heading to the border to Pakistan, so I was right, that's where they're going right now. But they kind of got into a bit of a problem with this car that was driving really slow in front of them. So after dealing with the slow driver, Jotaro and the others actually encounter a bit of a snag, which is in the form of Anne, the runaway girl. I really don't get her character. It's not like I'm trying to hate her or anything, it's just I don't see what the point is with this girl, really. I mean, the episode does explain why Anne was traveling. It was because she ran away from home from Hong Kong and she wanted to see the world, at least before she matured and grew into a woman. But the problem is, she kind of comes off as a bit irksome, especially with her developing crush on Jotaro. Which, okay, sure, why not? I mean, what's next? We're gonna see grannies having the hots for Jotaro? Actually, if that were to happen, I would facepalm so hard. She doesn't serve a purpose to the group. She kind of gets in the way. And you'd think that the group would just leave her behind, because if she traveled with them, she would be even more in danger with them instead of out in the road. But I believe there was an explanation as to why they decided to pick her up. I believe it was explained in the manga, which they left out in the anime, which is a shame because I wish they added that into the anime. It would have made a lot more sense. But I guess it's because she's a girl, a little kid actually, and they couldn't leave her behind, so they have no choice but to pick her up. While driving, they encounter the car once again, which, by the way, if you guys look closely at the car, it is the same car that was following them in the previous episode, so yeah, stand user is inside the car. Polnareff just gave him the signal to go on ahead, but he then starts to drive slowly in front of them. In fact, you couldn't see the person inside. All they could see were just his muscular arms and his armbands because of the dust that was covering the windows. So he gave him another signal to go on ahead, which Polnareff was driving does so. Just when they get in front of the car, all of a sudden this truck starts coming straight at them. It looked like they were about to crash into it, but luckily thanks to Star Platinum using his punch to push them away from the truck so that they could be able to land safely without any of them getting hurt. So they decide to go on ahead, but what about the truck driver? Aren't they gonna check if he's okay? Nope. Jotaro just says, just pretend you never saw it, ignore it. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen! But seriously, that's kind of an asshole move if you think about it. I mean, what if the truck driver was severely injured or dead? I mean, if the truck was on fire, I don't think Jotaro would have said that. And you know, makes the scene even like more was Anne fawning over Jotaro after what he said. Anyway, the car went on ahead of them, and the stand user comes across the sign that points in the direction of Pakistan. He slams the pole with his car, pulling the old switcheroo that you'd usually see in a Looney Tunes cartoon, which leads the group into a closed road. But before they get to the closed road, they decide to take a break at this roadside tea house, having a nice cup of sugarcane juice. But before they can actually relax, they see the car that belongs to the stand user. And since they were suspicious that the person who was driving might be a stand user, they have no idea who it could be because all they have going on from describing this guy was his muscular arms and his armband, which There are 3 people over there that actually have the same muscular arms and armbands. So they couldn't tell who was the stand user. So there was only one option that they have left. Beat them all up. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen. To be fair, at least not everyone agrees with it. At least Kakyoin has a brain. It's just, I'm like, really? I mean, Jotaro, Joseph, and Polnareff are about to beat the crap out of these 3 guys, which it turns out they weren't the stand user. In fact, the stand user got into the car, which we didn't get to see what he looked like, and drove off. So, they've been played, and Polnareff is so pissed that he wants to, like, confront this guy and beat the living shit out of him, so they drive off and go after the stand user without even apologizing to the innocent bystanders that they were going to beat up. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen! Okay, is it just me, or are they starting to come off as assholes? I don't want to say that they're assholes, but they're starting to come off as that. I mean, really? You're about to beat the living crap out of these guys, which I think they might have done so, but it looked like they were pushing them, and they don't even, like, apologize. They don't even go like, oh, I'm sorry, we tried to beat you up. We thought you were this one guy that tried to kill us. Oh my god, this anime. They managed to catch up to him, but when they turned the corner, he was gone, and it was a complete dead end. Well, the episode zooms in on these tire tracks, which are on the side of the rocky cliffs, which confirms that the car is the stand, which is called Wheel of Fortune. The same thing with strength also applies with Wheel of Fortune, as it's originally this broken down small little car, but with Wheel of Fortune it can turn into a pretty intimidating, pretty strong, pretty fast, powerful car. Now the stand user, we don't know his name until we got to Wheel of Fortune's stat card. The stand user's name is ZZ. ZZ actually appeared right behind them and started pushing them towards the edge of the cliff. Polnareff tries to push back, but not even a 4-wheel drive is strong enough against Wheel of Fortune. So Polnareff suggests that they gotta get out of the car. But Kakyoin points out that if the driver leaves, who's gonna hold down the brake pedal? But it's too late since they get pushed over the cliff and they start plumbing down towards their inevitable doom. But luckily they're saved thanks to Kakyoin's quick thinking as he uses Hierophant Green to grab onto the car wire winch, I think that's what they called it, and hook the wire onto the front bumper of Wheel of Fortune. And Hero, if you're watching this, I saw your bro moment between Kakyoin and Jotaro, and oh my god, you got me laughing real hard on this. And I really like how while Star Platinum was doing his thing, Jotaro then explains more on why he likes sumo wrestling. As he summons Star Platinum, pulls the wire so that he can hoist out the Jeep up into the air. And when they got close enough, Star Platinum punches the side of Wheel of Fortune as that car plummets down over the edge of the cliff. So that's it from Wheel of Fortune, I guess? No, it's not over, because ZZ was able to transfer his voice onto the Jeep's car radio. I don't know how that works, but I think it's got something to do with Wheel of Fortune, as he tells them that his stand was his car. So since they put 2 and 2 together on Wheel of Fortune, they hear the ground shaking and rumbling, and it turns out to be Wheel of Fortune, which was tunneling above the ground and appeared right under their Jeep, destroying it. It then begins to transform into like something you'd see in hell, this demonic car thing. That or a Decepticon. I don't know why I was thinking Transformers during that, but I believe this was a reference to a horror film based on a ghost car. I don't know which one. Now, I gotta admit, the design on Wheel of Fortune when it transformed, it looked pretty cool. So Wheel of Fortune drives right towards Jotaro. Jotaro was getting ready to attack, but then all of a sudden something shoots out from Wheel of Fortune and hits Jotaro, which we didn't see what it was, but it looked something that was very shiny. But it was revealed later on that he shot gas bullet. Now he was gonna get shot again, but Polnareff and Kakyoin try to come in and move him out of the way. But not only did Jotaro get hit, but also Kakyoin and Polnareff. The group decides to run between the boulders, but that's not enough to stop Wheel of Fortune, as it uses his tires and its front bumpers to push itself right between the boulders. So they start running again, and trips on the ground, and instead of like getting up and running again, I mean, it wasn't like her ankle was twisted or anything. She was capable of getting up Instead, what she does is cries and complains about nobody saving her. I'm just a lonely girl. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to die. I'm like, oh my god. All this time she spent crying and complaining, she could have used getting up and running. Which is, by the way, what Jotaro said. Thank you, Jotaro. And speaking of Jotaro, he actually saved Anne. So they make it at the top of the cliff that they were climbing. So Jotaro plans to hit Wheel of Fortune once the underside of the car reveals itself. And we actually get to see how Wheel of Fortune was able to drive at the side of the cliffs. ZZ produced these spikes on the tires, which allowed the stand to drive up to the cliff. And Jotaro was getting ready to attack with Star Platinum, but before he could, ZZ points out that their bodies reek of something, and they haven't even noticed. They didn't realize that they were being shot by gas. They just realized it when ZZ pointed out to them. ZZ then pulls off this tube from Wheel of Fortune, revealing these electric wires, which he uses the electric spark to ignite the gasoline that was used to shoot at Jotaro and lights him on fire. And by the way, the animation that David's production did on Jotaro when he was caught on fire looked really cool. But here's what I don't get. Why Jotaro first? I mean, he shot Kakyoin and Polnareff too, so why doesn't ZZ light all three of them on fire at the same time? Or can he just do that for one at a time? I'm assuming he can only do one at a time. Plus, they couldn't even go to him because they're also covered in gas. But Jotaro falls to the ground, and that was it. Kata Daisanbu Kun! Which means, I win, part 3 is over. Yeah, ZZ broke the fourth wall because he thought he killed the main character. But let's face it, he didn't, because this is Jotaro Kujo. He's got to fight against Dio. He does have a pretty good maniacal laugh. I will give kudos to that. So his laughter gets interrupted as he hears a voice saying, "Oh, and who exactly is going to replace me? Jotaro Kujo. You don't think it'd be you, did you?" As an arm burst out from the ground, and it was Jotaro, who was okay, even though he still got the gas bullet wound, as he used Star Platinum to tunnel himself underground, leaving nothing but his jacket. So it was only his jacket that was burned. But we saw him catch on fire. His skin was definitely on fire. I saw that, and the way it was animated, he definitely looked like he was on fire. And also, Star Platinum tunneling down the ground, that does make sense, but when did he have time to do that? I guess he did that off screen. So even if he did left behind his burning jacket, he still would have caught some severe burns or something with the fire, or who am I kidding? This is JoJo we're talking about here. And besides, once this theme appears, everything becomes irrelevant because it is Star Platinum beatdown time. ZZ was gloating that there were no more roads for these guys, but Jotaro tells him that he's wrong. A road is something that you make yourself. And so I, Jotaro Kujo, will show you how it's done. As Star Platinum punches the side of Wheel of Fortune, sending ZZ, crushing him to the other side of the car, and with one final ura, he flies out of Wheel of Fortune when his face was slammed right on the door, leaving an imprint on his face. Ugh, I love it when Star Platinum does his beatdowns. It's always great. And it ends off with Jotaro saying, "That's how it's done. Where you went flying, there is now literally a road. Yokata, yokata." Now we get a good look at ZZ, and he looks kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. All he has is muscular arms, but everything else is skinny, and he has even a bit of a pot belly. To be honest, he goes on the list of stand users that have pretty unique cool stands, but the stand user itself is pathetic as he tries to crawl away from Jotaro and the others, but he accidentally crawls towards Polnareff as he just places his foot on his back. ZZ then begs them not to kill him because he was just in it for the money, and they start laughing. Honestly, I thought that scene was funny when they were laughing, but the look on Jotaro's face when he was smiling, it came off kind of weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm used to Jotaro seeing him smile now, but the face he was making, it was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Oh man, I wonder how I'm gonna feel when I see Jotaro laughing. And Wheel of Fortune then reverts back to its original form, which is this small broken down car. And everyone then starts to laugh once again. Well, minus Jotaro, I think it was just smiling. So what happens with ZZ now? Well, unlike the rest of the stand users that were either end up dead or beaten up so badly that they could move, they tie him up upside down with chains on a boulder, putting a sign right in front of him saying, "I am a priest in training, please do not disturb my aesthetic exercises by undoing my restraints," and they just leave him behind. I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad for ZZ, but then again, at least he didn't die. Unlike some of the stand users, honestly, I don't know which one actually had it worse, but he's stuck there until God knows when, upside down, yelling out, "Help! Help!" It's so funny, oh my god. So yeah, they take the broken rundown car to the border of Pakistan, which I'm wondering if they're going to actually get there with that car, but we'll just have to wait and see. As for Anne, they're going to take her on an airplane and ship her right back to Hong Kong. So that's the last we're ever gonna see of her, which, okay, fine, bye Anne, I never really got your character. So that's basically it for Wheel of Fortune and ZZ, which by the way happens to be the final stand user of the 7 stand users that Enya sent to kill Jotaro and the others. But since all of them failed, we cut back to Enya, who is still mourning over the loss of her son Jay Guile. She declares that she will take them on herself with her stand, Justice. What is Justice? We won't know until next week. God damn it. But I am looking forward to it. So overall, this episode, I thought this episode was pretty good. There were some parts that were really funny. Parts that I weren't expecting Jotaro and the others to do in this episode. And I was a bit wary at first because I was wondering if this is going to go on a slow pace, considering that not a lot of interesting things happened near the beginning until once you get to the 5-minute mark with the truck. And then when they got near to the 7 to 8 minute mark with, I believe, their third encounter with Wheel of Fortune, things definitely do start picking up, things definitely do start to get interesting. Wheel of Fortune, the car stand, I thought it was a pretty cool stand, well, in terms of design. It is formidable, but it comes off as okay. I mean, I've seen stands that are way better than Wheel of Fortune, but in terms of design, it is pretty cool, and it is definitely unique and interesting. ZZ, on the other hand, he just comes off as another one of those minions, but I did like his maniacal laughter and that joke breaking the fourth wall. His appearance was kind of weird, but he's just another minion of the week, so we're never gonna see him again. And I really did not get her purpose. She kind of come off as someone who was getting in the way, and we're never gonna see her again, obviously. She was fine at the beginning, but when you got to this episode, I'm like, you're really starting to bug me, and please stop. Animation was pretty good. I've been noticing a lot of CGI was being used during the roadside scenes, especially with the cars. Voice acting was pretty good, especially with ZZ. I believe his voice actor's name is Masami Iwasaki. I don't know all of his roles, but one role I do know, he did play Alfonso in Gunslinger Girl, so he voiced ZZ. As for the rest of the voice actors, it came off as pretty good, especially with Joseph, because this episode, he was going, "Oh no," or "Oh god," it got me laughing. I don't know why it's funny, but it is. I got really one question with ZZ. You know, even though it didn't work the first time to burn Jotaro alive, why didn't he try to shoot him again with the gasoline bullets and then light him on fire again? Or do that with Polnareff and Kakyoin? Or do them at the same time? It's just that he tries one thing, it didn't work, and instead of like trying again, or at least like try to ram him over the cliff with this car, you could just back him over. He just gives up. Like, really, ZZ? Just whatever. And next week's episode is going to be another multi-parter with Justice and Enya. I cannot wait to see it, especially in the preview, since they encounter a town covered in mist and all these freaky, creepy looking people. Whole Horse is gonna make an appearance again. I don't know what he's gonna do, but hey, Whole Horse, that's neat. I am looking forward to seeing what Justice is and what it can do. And I'm looking forward to seeing Enya's plan on killing Jotaro and the others. Especially Polnareff, since Polnareff was the one that killed Jay Guile. Or hopefully it will be just as good as The Emperor and the Hangman, or even better. So I am looking forward to that. So just tell me, guys, what you think of this week's episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What are your thoughts on Wheel of Fortune and the stand user ZZ? And what are your thoughts on Anne? Really, like, what are your thoughts on that? I just wanted to know what you thought about her. Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like the video if you like it and subscribe to more videos. And be sure to check out my Facebook fan page and Google+. So yeah, that is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders episode 13. I'm Lunar Spout 27, and I will see you guys later. Bye.